Coach. Matchup number 3 with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and crew. What defensive priorities are important to you to carry over tonight from that win at the beginning of this month against them?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing all the time. I mean, we just, obviously those two guys present a big challenge, Jen, in trying to not let them get opportunities both to score and to create shots. But a lot of it's our team defense, and that's where we've got to get a lot better. We've got to be much more active off the ball so that we can help and close, get back to three-point shooters, things like that. Our pick-and-roll defense is going to have to be outstanding tonight. I don't know that anybody or how many teams anyway can put more pressure on you with both guards in terms of pick and rolls. So it'll be a big challenge tonight.
And forgive me, Coach, switching gears just a little bit to all-star. Captains and starters are set. Reserves are next. Given Zion's body of work so far this season, do you think he should be in that number?
Well, absolutely. I think he and Brandon both are going to get really, really strong consideration, particularly because, we have to vote for, as coaches, I can't vote for those guys, but we have to vote for, 2 guards, 3 front court players, and 2 guys at any position. And if you look at, the potential list of other all-star reserves in the West, it's very, very guard heavy. And so certainly when you start talking about front court players, our 2 guys have to be strongly in the mix. But there's a lot of good players in the Western Conference. And so, guys, there's going to be several guys who deserve to be all-stars by their body of work who aren't going to be there because you only take 12 out of 15 teams. So it's a hard thing.
Coach, you have an update on Steven Adams? I know he was listed as doubtful earlier today.
Yeah, he's not going to play, Todd.
Well, that being said, how much of an importance now on the defensive end, especially rebounding Josh Hart off the bench, Billy, Jackson Hayes as well, they're going to have to pick up the slack.
There's no question. I mean, we've got to really play well. Steven's also been our best pick and roll defender of our big guys in a night where we're going to be challenged on pick and rolls. So, look, I mean, that's what happens in this league. People get hurt, people miss games, and guys have to step up. We've got good depth at that position, and Billy and Jackson, are going to have to do a good job.
On the Phoenix side, how much the improvement of Mikal Bridges has helped that team? He has really stepped his game up from last year.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he's really shooting the ball well. He's a great cutter. Always been a really good defender. Consistent energy every night. He's played very well.
Stan, Christian Collector, Zion's free throw numbers have steadily climbed this season. What are you seeing from him at the line lately?
A lot of balls going in, Christian. A lot of balls going in, So he's around 80% over the last 6 games, I think, on a good number of attempts, 6 or 7 games. He spends a lot of time working on it. Fred's done a great job with him. I think he's to the point now that when he misses, he even knows what he did. And he's somebody, you welcome going to the free throw line at this point.
Will, go ahead.
Will, you're muted, babe.
We'll go over to Rod Walker.
Hey, Stan, let me take going back to the All-Star questions. What are your thoughts about the game and just having it anyway?
I'll leave that to you guys to comment on, Rod. I've found a lot of other ways to get myself in trouble with the league. I'm not going to, this isn't the one. Look, I mean, to me, it's just an extension, quite honestly, of what we've been doing all year. I mean, we're taking risks. I mean, you can't even deny that we're taking risks, and all of us are taking them, and we're taking them voluntarily. Nobody's forcing them on us, and it's the same thing with the All-Star game. It's worth a lot of money, and I will say, I think the Players Association, with Chris Paul's leadership, getting $2.5 million of that going to the HBCUs, adds a little more significance to the game and makes it a little bit more worthwhile. But look, it's to bring in money, and that's what this whole season's been about, playing without fans, taking the risk of traveling, all of that. It's all been about making money, and so we're going to go do the same thing in Atlanta.
Stan, it's been clear that we've seen a steady improvement from Billy, but with Adams not playing tonight and Billy undoubtedly being in pick and roll situations, what are you telling him going into tonight's game, going against a player with the basketball IQ like Chris Paul?
Yeah, look, it's never easy. I mean, how many better pick and roll players have there ever been in this league than Chris Paul? So it's not easy, and he's seen every defense imaginable, and he makes the right play all the time. So, it's just a really difficult thing playing him. What you've got to do is be very, very disciplined to what you're trying to do, and it's got to be a team defense. I mean, it's going to be all 5 guys on pick and rolls, and everybody's got to do their job, do it as well as we can, and hope for the best.
Lane, go ahead. All right, moving over to Schmidt.
Hey, Coach, Schmidt Gill from Bourbon Street Shots. You've talked about kind of monitoring Zion's responsibility as a ball handler, not putting too much burden on him. Holistically speaking, would you guys like to ramp that up over the course of the season, a long term, to kind of determine where the point of diminishing returns is? Like, is there a limit to how much you can handle with the kind of creation responsibility?
Definitely long term, Schmidt. No question. Long term. I've talked to him about it. It's going to take even increased conditioning from where he is now to do it, and he's not in bad shape now by any sense, but that's different than being in point guard shape to bring the ball up the floor all the time. It's just a different level. And so long term, for sure, I would like to do more of it, but it's going to take, more, we've got to figure things out better, and he's got to develop that, stamina to go at that. Doing it on dead balls and free throws, I think we've shown that he can handle that. But to do what Lonzo's doing and, take every outlet pass and take every inbounds pass and get it up and into your, that's a whole different level. It's something that he hasn't done, at least not on this level. So it'll take some time, but yeah, that's the long-term vision, at least on my part, is more and more and more of that.
Hey Stan, Scott Kushner. I'm just, curious. I know you've probably answered this in some way, shape, or form a lot of times, but do you think your guys lack confidence defensively, or is it pretty much just execution defensively? Like, where would you say, if you had to kind of pick, a percentage of where the issue is? Is it in that confidence, chemistry, whatever you might call it, or is it just in not being in the right spots at the right time?
No, well, but it all sort of goes hand in hand, and sometimes you're in the right spot, do the right thing, and the other team scores. And when the ball's going in the basket, especially as many threes as we've given up, I think everybody's confidence takes a little bit of a hit. Trust takes a little bit of a hit. And that's something that you have to overcome. If you play better defense, obviously they make fewer shots, your confidence goes up. It just sort of all goes together.
Yeah, Coach, sorry about that delay earlier. Dwayne Reagan, Arizona Republic. I wanted to quickly follow up on the All-Star voting for you guys as coaches. How challenging is that? Could you expand on that a little bit on how challenging that is to pick? There's so many great players in this league, and when you're trying to determine a small number, how challenging is that for you guys, Coach?
Oh, I mean, off the top of my head, look, I'm looking at the reserves today, and the most you can get on the reserves is 4 guards. The 2 you're allowed to pick, and then the 2 without position. And you've got Lillard, Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I could just keep going on. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Ja Morant. How challenging is it? Hell, all of those guys are all-stars. All of them. And so it's beyond challenging. It's what you end up deciding is obviously who's the most deserving, but also what you end up deciding is which deserving guys are you going to leave off your ballot. And here's the one thing too. I just want to, Dwayne, I want to be clear on, all of us, and we'll all be guilty of it, right? Whoever of our best players gets left off, we're going to say they got screwed, okay? I've said this for years. I said it when I'm commentating. That's fine. If you're going to say your guy deserved to be on it, you have to tell me who just shouldn't be on there. Otherwise, it's just an empty, gutless statement. So if you're going to say, well, my guy should have made it, then at least have the guts to say he should have made it over so-and-so. Because all those guys I just named are all-stars. They're all all-stars, but we can't pick them all. So to say that to me is sort of a BS statement unless you're willing to say, oh, what the hell, Steph Curry doesn't belong on there. My guy belongs on there. You know, if you're not going to say that, I'm not listening.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Hey, Coach. Hopefully none of you guys get screwed there. My question is more related to Black History Month. Obviously, the NBA has done a great job of shedding light on it, especially this year. I'm just wondering, I know for all of us, it's been over a month since what's been a crazy 2020. Have you had time to reflect on maybe some lessons you've learned from social justice issues and everything that's been going on, to some lessons that you want to impart to your team and then also to your family and society moving forward, even beyond the team?
You know, and it's a good question. Look, I think as far as the NBA's done everything they could, I guess, but it's been hard this year with nobody in the arena, because I think in the past, you know, you've focused a lot of educational efforts, drawing attention to things in the arena for your fans. We don't have that this year. I think that's unfortunate, but a lot of this season is unfortunate. You can't go out and do the community activities that teams have normally done in Black History Month. Also unfortunate. Haven't been able to really get involved with grassroots groups doing social justice work in your own markets. That's unfortunate. And so it really, through nobody's fault, Charlie, it just hasn't been what we would all hope it would be. And so I think that's really unfortunate. But I think the whole thing's unfortunate. The fact that we need, and we do, the fact that we need a Black History Month because we won't teach Black history as part of American history, I think is really unfortunate to begin with. And people laugh when I say this, but it's serious. Like, does anybody ever read anything into, we have one Black History Month and we make sure it's the shortest month of the year? I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. It's not one of the days, it's not one of the months with 31 days or even 30. We take the shortest one. Here, take this month.
Great, thanks, Coach.
All right.